Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I figured it was long overdue for an update. All right, if you're new here, I usually do budgeting videos, and although I am going to talk about budget and finances and money and all those things that we like to focus on here, I also just want to give you a general update just because I've been gone so long and I'm really trying to figure out if I want to move forward with this channel or just archive it and look at it for what it was. And it was a helpful tool in getting me on track from credit card debt and into paying off bills and a hard time with my husband's job loss. So there were a lot of components that made this channel really, really useful for me. And I used it to keep myself accountable because making those regular videos for you guys also forced me to open up my budget notebook, look at things in a different way, sometimes come up with maybe even creative ways to save some money or pay off some debt. And I really think that it served its purpose. So I wanted to talk to you guys first before I decided whether to, I don't know, not reinvent this channel, but even to go on with the same content, the same subject matter, and I am interested in your feedback. So let me just back up a little bit. It has been so many months since I've done a video and talked to you guys about what my current situation is. So not going to talk a whole lot about this, but I was just dealing the past couple of years with just so many different health issues that just kept piling on. If it wasn't one thing, I felt like it was another. And although I'm super lucky and blessed that nothing has been, horrible to deal with, or, I have the ability to deal with it all, which I guess is the upside. But it's still been just a trial. So I am still focusing on my health and doing things just to make myself feel better, um, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that was one thing I was dealing with. And I just kind of lost my motivation for the extra stuff. And when I say extra, I mean things that like the YouTube channel or my hobbies or things that I just enjoy doing just for the fun of it. So everything became, work, home, work, home, work, home. And I went back to the office in March, and, we've been that way ever since. And I just didn't leave a whole lot out there for anything else. And that's only my fault. I just felt tired, fatigued, like I said, unmotivated, disinterested, and all that kind of stuff. So, I feel like the things that I'm doing now, I'm focusing on now, are making that all change for the better. So in the meantime, finance-wise, my husband is still working the job that he took after losing his initial job. I talked to you guys a lot about getting his retirement, and we were waiting for his 50th birthday, and that has come and gone, and he still haven't received his job audit packet, which is what he needs to get in order to actually file for the retirement. So although his previous company said that it would be retroactive once it's processed, it's still a waiting game. So that put our house plans on the back burner. So we're in the same house, which is fine, but we had wanted to actually be moved by now because we were looking to buy a different house, maybe a ranch, even though those are really hard to come by where we live. We just had some plans, and our plans got put on hold. So we are still waiting for his paperwork to come. It's been, it's going on a few months now, but what can you do? You just, we're kind of at the mercy of somebody else's timeline, I guess, for lack of a better term. So we're still in the same house, so he's working the job, and the reason why our house plans got put on hold is because we discovered that banks don't really want to they don't want to count on a commission-based job unless you've been there for 24 months. That's been our experience. We have talked to 3 separate banks, and including Rocket Mortgage. We thought, let's just go out of the area. Let's just try something online, see what they say, but it was the same thing. So that's kind of why our house plans got put on hold. So we're waiting for his retirement to subsidize that and to have it look like he has an actual income. In other news, this is a big one for me. I paid off my student loans. So I don't know where I left off with you guys as far as updating that. I know that I was trying to make extra payments, and I wanted to see what happened with the new presidential administration, because there was all this talk and rumors and, I don't want to say promises because it wasn't really promised, but there was a lot of talk about forgiving $10,000 of everyone's student loans who still had them. And I didn't want to go full force into paying mine off if there was going to be this massive credit, because at that time I was owing right around $10,000, because you guys know I paid off one of them and I was left with just the other. So I thought long and hard about this, and we had been putting money away in savings, for the house and things like that, and we still have money in savings. But one day I just got this urge to pay off my student loan. I thought, it's contributing my debt to income ratio. When I talked to the banks about home loans, I didn't know, I guess I just didn't know a whole lot about that. Student loans always felt like they were just there in the background, and if you had it, you just had it for basically life. But I wanted to erase it and just to stop thinking about it. It felt like a massive cloud over my head every time I looked at our accounts each month to pay our bills. And I thought, this credit that they were talking about, this forgiveness, this $10,000 forgiveness, may never come. And I'm okay with paying off my own debts. It would have been nice to get the credit, don't get me wrong, but it was still my debt, and I felt like it was still the right thing to do. I had the money, and so I did that. So if I haven't already, I'm going to put a picture of my payoff, and I did $9,500 and change, I believe, at once. And prior to that, I had just made sporadic payments. I was actually so caught up on my payments that they weren't even requiring me to make monthly payments until I think sometime next year. So if you see some months in that photo where it looks like nothing was paid, it just wasn't required of me. And so, like I said, one day I just woke up and I got this bug in my head about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And I did it, and I feel great. I feel like there is this really old, ugly cloud just gone from my life, because while I was also gone from YouTube, I also turned 47 years old. So I just felt like having these loans from so long ago, loans that I took out to do things that I probably wouldn't have really even needed. I mean, my college, my tuition and books and things like that were covered by my mom, and I took out loans like, oh, I'm going to put this on this car, and I'm going to pay off this credit card. And I was very, very irresponsible with what I did. And back then you didn't need parental signatures for these loans. I don't know how it is today, but back then you did not. And if you're wondering when that was, I'm talking early to mid 90s. So I got myself into this mess, and for a lot of years I defaulted and I just didn't pay it, and I was struggling with so much other debt. You guys probably know my story if you're not new here. And I just let it morph and snowball into this gigantic debt, and it was way more than I ever borrowed to begin with. But that's the ugly side to student loans, and it could happen to anybody who doesn't have their eye on things as carefully as they should. So that's gone. Um, we still have savings in a bank account for our next house, but we're also counting on using the proceeds from what we sell our current house and use that toward a down payment as well. So I think we're pretty comfortable there. Our bills are pretty much the same. Otherwise, I did get a different car. I know some of you guys are really, really anti-leasing. We like it. Our lifestyle is it allows for it. We don't go over the miles anymore. My husband has a very, very short commute to work. I mean, I'm talking just a few minutes. My commute is not that bad. We don't ever go over on our miles. And it just makes sense for us and we enjoy it. So if you are somebody who is like, oh my gosh, you're so stupid for leasing, you know, this and that, just I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me because it's just our decision and what we do. We do not have kids. I'm not saying that that affects our leasing, but we do have a lot of other options probably that, you know, somebody who has to worry about supporting kids and raising kids don't. You know, I think sometimes that even allowed me to overspend, even get into debt because I just didn't have anybody to answer to but myself and my husband. So leasing for us has always been less expensive. Now, in the long run, would it be, you know, less expensive to buy it? Probably, if we wanted to have our car for X amount of years and we weren't looking to change, but this is just how we've always done it. And we do get a discount on our cars, so it's just worked out for us. So I did get a different car because my husband's lease was up. He took my car. And so those were the only major financial differences we've had. I contemplated on refinancing our house, but that would have made absolutely zero sense if we weren't going to stay in it, because if you refinance and you sell within a year or two, you lose money on the deal if your bank charges you closing costs. So you have to figure out, is it worth it to refinance if you're not going to be in the house long enough to realize those costs back to you? And we just figured that wasn't the case. So we did not refinance. We are just kind of plugging along and biding our time until some other changes happen. So I don't know what's in store for the future for us. I used to be such a planner. I used to have stacks of happy planners that were larger than this little bin holder behind me. I don't know why I was like that. I figured that somehow that was, you know, making me feel more organized, or I'm going to Franken plan these 5 planners into one and it's going to make all the difference. And for some people it does, but for me, I ended up with a lot of clutter and unnecessary items that didn't do me any good whatsoever. So if you're wondering, I am in such a tiny planner right now. I could actually show it to you guys, but maybe that will be a different video if we keep going. But I'm in a really small planner. I'm using a couple, like the extra wide traveler's notebooks I'm using one for my bills, believe it or not. I'm no longer using the tool notebook or a happy planner system. It was just too cumbersome. And I'm using the second little traveler's notebook. It's a little bit wider than the traditional narrow one. I'm using that to record my notes, my thoughts, my ideas, my plans, and that's my system. So it is about this big, you know, like almost like a 5x7 size, maybe 6x8 at the biggest. But very slim profile, not a lot of paper, and I feel so much better. So do I still love happy planners? I totally do. Am I tempted to buy, you know, 1, 2, 4, 5 of them when the new ones come out? I really am. And it's just something that I enjoy. But in the long run, I had to start deciding for myself what is realistic and what actually gets the job done for me. And so I made those changes in this year. I mean, I haven't been doing videos for a while, so that's just another change that I made for myself. I purged so much of my crafting life. I just gave it to Goodwill. I was into so many different projects and interests over the years, and it just, that back bedroom that you see back here, okay, it just became a storage room for abandoned projects and hobbies. And I wanted to use it as a functional guest room. And I thought, I don't want all this stuff anymore. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get back into some of these things. And so I thought somebody else could enjoy them. So I boxed up 80–90% of it, and I just gave it to Goodwill. And I hope that somebody else finds some enjoyment from it at a really steal of a price. But yeah, that's just kind of what I've been up to. I feel much more low maintenance. I feel minimalistic to an extent. I just don't feel burdened and tied down to things like I was. It's a different feeling for me, because I've always been looking for the next thing and looking for the next hobby, organizational system, plan, you know, whatever the case may be. And I finally just took time this year to say, okay, you know what, let's just be good where we're at and see how things go. So that's what I'm doing. It's nothing more exciting than that. We haven't had any vacations. You know, of course, where we live, COVID is still very much a thing, as it is everywhere. So we haven't planned a whole lot because, I don't know, we just are taking this time to just kind of save the extra money we make and really enjoy it when we can move and plan a really spectacular vacation, which I'm really hoping for, and just have some fun. So I'm looking forward to those kinds of things, and I've gotten back to some just old-fashioned entertainment as far as reading books, and I get a lot of ebooks from my library and I download them to my phone or my computer, or I do have an old Kindle. So I do stuff like that, and I've been really into Netflix and, you know, binge watching shows, and, you know, just not feeling like I constantly have to be doing or creating or, you know, worrying or planning and plotting the next thing. And that's been the biggest thing for me, the biggest change, I think, in my life, is just slowing down and realizing that there's, you know, I can get back to it when I get back to it. And that's kind of how I looked at this channel. I'll get back to it when I get back to it. But I do miss making videos. I don't know that I would ever go back to the same budget with me type videos where I'm using the same format and the same budget sheet and the same this and the same that, because it just got really stale for me. And while I love watching those kinds of videos, and I just adore so many people who do those videos, the same kind of videos that I did, and I get a lot of enjoyment and entertainment from watching them, I just don't feel like doing that right now. So that's why I'm here. I wanted to update you and tell you that I wasn't trying to abandon my channel. I was just trying to figure things out and take some time to, you know, relax, just take a breather, and then decide what the next step is, you know, and do it in just my own time. So I would love to hear back from you guys and see what you think as far as moving forward. I'm not sure what else I can offer at this moment, because like I said, I'm not doing a whole heck of a lot of hobbies. But if you want me to come on here and talk about how my shopping has changed and how my relationship with credit cards has changed, and talk to you guys about what we spend on groceries every week, I mean, I'm still definitely down for doing stuff like that, but I just didn't know if it was enough to keep this channel going, and, you know, have it be something of interest to both of us. So love to hear your thoughts. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope that you're staying happy, that you are finding some enjoyment in your everyday. And I definitely have missed the interaction with you and appreciated all your support, all your kind words and concern while I was gone. I just think that that is such a fantastic community to be a part of, and I just wanted you to know how much it meant to me. So hopefully I will see you in my next video.